Welcome. It's Thursday the 24th, 25th. God, time is flying. I'm Donovan Sadiq and my co-host Sean Fortine, who is all the way right. And we're here. This is the Hot Seat Radio Show. You guys, welcome. It's cold. Stay warm out there. A lot of stuff going on in the Inland Empire. We welcome you guys to the show. Please like, share, and comment. We are not above criticism, but make sure that when you criticize, you got all your facts together. So, Sean, you mentioned that Ann Richards recently resigned from Planned Parenthood.
No, Cecile.
Oh, Cecile Richards. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ann Richards is the mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot of information about why, really.
Uh-huh.
Some say that she's jumping ship from a sinking ship.
What do they mean by sinking ship? I mean
that the organization has run into a lot of problems under her leadership, and now that there's some criminal investigations going on into some of their partners. The videos are all going to come out sooner or later. And the
video is going to show kickbacks and bribes and just shady practices and how they do their nonprofit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because if Javier Becerra ever wants to take David Leiden and Sandra Merritt to trial, that those videos are going to have to come out to the jury.
Mm-hmm. And the videos are the videos in regards
to undercover videos
where they were where they're making money off of the fetuses and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, and I don't see how they can get a conviction, because it's really bizarre. It's supposedly they've committed a crime and they've made videos of this crime, yet the Attorney General doesn't want. It's weird that the prosecutor would not want those videos of a crime being committed to be made public.
Interesting.
So it's she's probably
sweating bullets, and she's trying to get out of there while she can, so that she doesn't have to to mitigate the damage that's already happened, because she's going to have a lot of defense to do.
Yeah.
Because she was the head of the organization. So she's probably deleting emails and servers.
And she's also on some of those videos.
Wow. I had not heard about that, but we're gonna stay on top of that and keep you guys informed with that. As you guys know, marijuana in the state of California is now legal. There has been a spike in traffic stops with young people having marijuana and which is considered drug paraphernalia within their vehicles. And people say, and it's so sad that the people are so misinformed. Just because it's legal does not give you the right to smoke it in public and in your car and drive on it and things like that. So if this thing hasn't warped your brain already, it's obvious. If you don't know that, you need to stop using drugs, because to me, the rule really didn't change. If you're in your house and you're smoking weed, that's your business. Nobody cares. But once you leave that house, there is a set limit that you're supposed to be under THC in your system, and they can stop you, and it's going to be a whole thing. Now, I do not, as a black man, I am not standing up for any Negro out there that is getting stopped under a banner of a marijuana stop. I'm not going to fight for you. I'm not going to do that, because you should not be out there under the influence in that situation. So I think we're going to have a lot of problems with this thing, because it hasn't been hashed out. Chief, what's his name? The Sheriff Sniff?
Sheriff Sniff, yeah.
Is it Sniff, or who's the Los Angeles Sheriff? I forgot his name.
I don't remember the LA Sheriff.
Yeah, whoever the sheriff is right now, he was on TV saying that they still haven't figured all of this out. And it's going to be basically a trial and error type situation, because, it's legalized in California, but there's still a federal statute that outlaws it by Attorney General.
I'm not even sure they've established a legal safe limit to drive.
Right.
I think it's basically do the sobriety test, and basically if your motor skills are impaired or your reaction time is impaired, then you get arrested for it.
And basically it's at the peripheral of the officer. If he figures, hey, you're,
basically, yeah.
So
if they don't have a set
standard,
if they don't have a set a THC limit, blood THC limit, then it's going to be up to the officer and ultimately up to a jury.
So be ready for a lot of that. So you guys, I mean, just be smart. I've never used it. I'm not against it. But again, I'm not going to be supporting people who are out there doing stupid shit when you could be in your house doing what you have to do, and try to keep it as to a very, very minimum. Speaking of local, and this is the national news we're going to be talking about. The government was shut down.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on that?
That was a stupid move for Chuck Schumer to try.
Okay.
For one, he should have known that historically the Republican support base is not as effective. Save for the military, the Republican support base is not usually as affected by shutdowns as the Democrats.
Right.
And it didn't go over well that he's trying to shut down the government and disrupt the government on behalf of non-citizens. Even CNN's polls showed that even before the shutdown happened, CNN's polls showed that it was an unpopular idea, and it only got less and less popular as they fought over it.
Right. Well, as usual, the Democrats cave. I mean, if you're going to do it and get something out of it. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to shut down the government and then get nothing out of the deal? Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm with you that they shouldn't have done it over illegal people. The Dreamers feel betrayed, and which you should. I've always said, and we've said this on the show, these are the same party. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. I'm an American first. I can't speak for anybody else. So, yes, do we have to do something about these Dreamers? Absolutely. It's not a high priority on my agenda, but eventually we're going to have to do something about these kids that are out there. But if you're going to go into negotiations in the United States, it's never been when a party that controls all three branches of government. This is the first time a government shutdown has actually happened.
Well, that's because there were five that voted to side with Schumer and Bush.
Well, the thing is that they needed a supermajority, which is a 60-vote threshold, which they don't have. So they're going to have to need some Democrats to come over there. So for the Republicans, if you can't get 60 votes, you can't get 60 votes.
Five Republicans sided with Schumer on this.
Right. And of course, those are the guys that were at the border states, mm-hmm. and a lot of them are facing election. But, what I want to tell everybody, as I've been telling everybody, these representatives do not represent us. They represent their donors. And that's what this is about. And your dreamers keep dreaming. This is something that is not going to be solved as long as there's it will be solved if the dreamers had money. Mm-hmm. But you don't have enough money to make these guys do what they're going to. It's going to be used as a political football.
Well, if they had money, they'd go through the immigration process the legal way because they'd be able to show they'd be able to economically contribute to the country. Right.
And then you look at the people who are going through the process correctly. That's not fair that these mm-hmm. people just automatically be brought here. We understand. Yeah. You're brought here at no fault of your own, but the law is the law. Mm-hmm. Can the president do executive order? Yes. But, and I hear that argument all the time. Yeah, he can do the executive order. However, the Supreme Court has already ruled that is a congressional power that the president had. That's why Obama's thing was overturned. Mm-hmm. His executive order was illegal, deemed illegal.
Well, executive order has to fall within within the guidelines of what Congress has already passed.
Right. Well, in that situation, when it comes to that, the president doesn't even have any say. So that's a congressional, it's purely congressional situation. I feel bad for the Dreamers, but it goes to show you to shut the government down and to put it like this: if we were going to do that in support for the Dreamers, we're going to get something out of the deal. Mm-hmm. But once again. And I said this on my Facebook page, the Democrats they have no fight in them whatsoever. Yeah. None.
Yeah. So Schumer did this without thinking it through, and the only concession he got out of this is that he
Senate, might bring it to the floor.
The Senate promises to debate this again in 3 weeks. So basically all...
debate it. That's all you got to do is debate it.
Yeah, all they did is basically promise that Congress is going to go bicker again, like what else is new.
Right, and and nothing against Mitch McConnell, but it isn't like this guy keeps his word at everything that he does. So I mean, the Democrats are once again the Democrats, and I've said it once, I will say 1,000 times. They do not care about anybody but their donors. If you haven't written them a big check, because if I was a dreamer and you're using me, and I'm speaking this as a black man, because as a black person, we've been used as political football. So if you haven't learned from our experience, you dreamers, and let's break it down, Dreamers are pretty much illegal Mexicans that came here to the United States. Mostly. If we're getting used like that, you're going to get used like that. And now you're up in arms and you're upset because a lot of you guys came out of the shadows and identified yourself, and now you're subjected to being deported. Mm-hmm. We understand that, and I'm sure something is going to be done for the humanitarian issue about it. It's just a matter of when it's going to be done. But when are you people are going to stop? If they won't fight for you,
they're not fighting for U.S. citizens. They're just going to use the
right.
All they care about is getting the illegal aliens to stuff the ballot box.
Right, and
it's basically everything that it's everything LBJ said about the civil rights.
Exactly.
All over again.
Exactly. We're going to have you guys voting Democrat for the next 500 years, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. So we've got to stop voting by this party line. Make these people accountable and get the job done. However, if I was a politician and I am championing a non-citizen's agenda, wouldn't that be the same as the Russian situation going on right now and all this other stuff like that? What's the difference between what Trump does with the Russians and what the Dreamers are doing? Collusion?
Well, there's still most of the Russian investigation is low on steam right now and is stalled. But what the illegal aliens are doing, that's all right in front of our face. They've violated our borders. They're committing crimes. In some cases, they've come over with the help of the Mexican police or military providing them aid, which is an act of war.
Okay, can I ask you this? If you go back 2 generations to most Americans now, most of those people that came here under the same auspices of the Dreamers did today. So if you're an Irish American, you came here during the famine.
Yes, but there was also laws in place to allow them in.
Right. So, but a lot of people are making those parallels. Like, there's nobody here that's really a native unless you're a Native American.
Well, a dictionary definition of native is someone that lives where they were born.
Right. So, it's complicated.
Yeah, and so to compare the Dreamers, or whatever you want to call them, to the people coming through Ellis Island, is that the people that came through Ellis Island went through
vetting.
They did health screenings.
Right.
They
background checks.
They declared what job skills they had and all that. Whereas the Dreamers have basically just have none of that and just snuck across the border. And
their parents brought them across, and they're just here.
Yeah,
no papers. Right.
And as far as health goes, every once in a while we'll have a bad outbreak of like whooping cough or some other third world disease.
Right.
Because of it.
And and there's no better place to be a Dreamer, because this is one of the only countries you could come in, not put into our Social Security system, not do anything like that, and you will be given free education, free medical, food stamps.
College.
College. But if you're born here and your parents work and stuff, you don't get all that.
Yeah.
You have to pay for all that. That's something because we're privileged. That's why I say, how are you privileged if you got to pay for it? And the people that don't have to pay for it, they're considered not privileged. To me, that's privileged if you don't have to pay for anything. It's kind of backwards, I think.
Yeah.
So, but and speaking of President Trump, and we're talking about the Russian collusion. Sean is on the right. I'm pretty much, I don't give a damn. I'm pretty much in the middle. David Nunes, he's the head of the thing, who's supposed to have recused himself from the thing. They just today, I think a couple of hours ago, they just censored him, or they did something to him for providing a fake memo in regards to the FBI doing this or doing that, whatever. They're saying that he should not have been doing what he's doing.
This was a few hours ago. I haven't had a chance to see.
Yeah, it was a few hours ago where he had created a fake memo or something and provided it and said, hey, it was something in regards to where he didn't even read what he had put out. Because remember, he was supposed to have recused himself from all of this. So what he's doing, he's working on the fringes. I got a question for you. Why are all these people so dedicated to Trump and loyal to Trump versus the Constitution? Like they're supposed to be loyal to the Constitution and not to the president. I
think they're being careful not to jump to conclusions.
Okay. Now I'm just picking your brain.
Because right now you also have to remember that most of the Mueller team is either has really strong contacts with the Democratic Party, not necessarily the politicians, but the actual party infrastructure. Yeah. And a lot of them have also been financial backers of the Democratic Party, and so this is by no means a neutral investigation.
So you're saying a career government employee is now tainted. He was going to put his personal agenda ahead of a career employee. He's going to do that.
Yeah, their texts show that they.
I was in the military for a while. In the military, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, and we have Americans. So no matter what president comes in, you have people in the military. It doesn't matter what. That's the commander in chief, and that's who we're supposed to serve. He's the head of it. We're not supposed to serve him. He's the head of the military. So those guys that are loyal Democrats, you're saying now they are serving an agenda for the Democratic.
I would be more, since they haven't severed ties with the Democratic. It's one thing. I'm not faulting them for voting Democrat. What I'm saying is that they haven't severed ties from the Democratic Party while they're doing this investigation.
But you never had to do that before. I mean, let me ask you this. Okay, it's like you. If you're an FBI agent and you've been an FBI agent for 20 years, regardless of your party affiliation, you're a career FBI agent. You want to do a good job, and you're an honest guy, whatever the deal is. You don't think because you're a career FBI agent or you're a career diplomat that has nothing to do with you doing your job?
Look at Comey.
He's a Republican.
He's also more like a Republican.
But if it wasn't for Comey, Trump wouldn't be president right now. When he leaked that thing on Hillary? I'm week before the election? I mean, Trump was done until Comey said we found some more emails.
I think Comey was just doing whatever he said needed to do or needed to say to save his own skin.
Okay.
I don't think Comey was being partisan. I think Comey was looking after Comey.
Okay. And that's a good opinion. But what I do know is career federal employees are going to do the best job they can. I find it very hard. So basically, by saying that now everything is tainted. So now all these racketeering charges of these gangsters. Now we need to go back there because the FBI has been tainted and let those gangsters out or let them have another trial because now Republicans are saying that the FBI is bad and you have agendas in there and stuff like that. Wouldn't that open the door for that? Thousands of racketeering cases.
That's what happens anytime. That's what happens when a cop gets busted planting a gun or drugs on people. Sure. So if it turns out a law enforcement official tainted an investigation, then yeah, they often do have to go through back and reinvestigate all these cases and often take them back to give them a new trial. Okay,
and I'm with you on that. Let me ask you this question right now. Do you believe that the president has obstructed justice, even though he admitted he obstructed justice? Do you believe that he's guilty of that right now?
There's been numerous accusations he's been accused of.
No, he's already admitted it. He's obstructed justice.
Okay, which?
That was in the Lester Holt video. He said, I fired Flynn because of this. That's obstruction of justice.
Well, Flynn was also talking to
Mueller.
And also talking to Russian officials.
Right, but the point is, though, as a president, you can't do that when the person is when you're being investigated. You can't fire somebody. I mean, he admitted it. I fired them because of this and this. He shouldn't have done that. That's the pure definition of obstruction of justice, right there. Number one. So my point is this, and like I said, how about
okay, but there's a lot of conspiracy theories about what he's been involved in with Russia and whatnot. A lot of the stuff is.
Well, it's not a conspiracy. Yeah, but this is a fact.
Okay, but if that's the case, why hasn't Congress been focusing on Flynn specifically, if that's
Well,
if that's something they can actually name.
Well, they can't right now. That's why they appointed Mueller to do the investigation. Once he gets his report, then he presents that to Congress, and then Congress takes it at that point. Now, when Congress gets it, it's up to them if they're going to impeach him or not. If Mueller says, yes, this is obstruction of justice, whatever, and the Congress gets it and they vote on it and say, yeah, it's obstruction of justice, these are the articles of impeachment. They start the articles of impeachment, and then he goes through the impeachment process. Now, we know he's already obstructed justice. Now, Nixon obstructed justice. But Clinton obstructed justice for lying.
Right now, we're debating we're speculating on an investigation that hasn't been stalled.
Hasn't been. Well, it's not stalled right now. I mean, he's already did sessions. He's into the administration right now. But I got a point when I'm doing this. Do you, as a open-minded Republican guy that sees both sides of everything, we already know he already admitted to obstructing justice. That's a crime in itself. Because a lot of my Republican friends say, well, he can't obstruct justice. Yes, he can. Nixon did. That was with the first article, obstruction of justice. Clinton, he lied, obstruction of justice. So the precedent's already been set. He admitted he obstructed justice. That's a done deal. Russia connections. Do you believe that this has anything to do with Russia, even though all these connections keep coming up? I mean, in your opinion, do you believe it has anything to do with Russia?
I'm not sure. Keep in mind that Putin was going to have Russians was going to find out what Trump is all about and what his administration is all about. So there was no avoiding having some contact with Russians, but also it's also come out with the Fusion GPS dossier that a lot of this stuff is also been set up to make him look bad. So that's what I'm saying. We need to slow down, because right now we're speculating on a lot of things that haven't been hashed out, and we haven't and have not sorted out what.
All the facts to it.
What Trump actually did and what was actually done what was actually made up to smear him.
Right. We already know he did obstruct that. That's a fact. He already admitted to obstruction of justice. We know that. What I'm saying is, when I'm getting to, I talk to all my friends. Everybody's opinion's valid. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Do you believe that this man has done anything wrong? We already know he's a liar. Would you say that he's told the truth his whole administration up until now?
What politician has ever told the truth?
Well, I'm talking about on this scale. This guy lies 5 times a day. So they say, allegedly. He hasn't shown us his taxes yet. I mean, all these things that just keep coming out.
He's not legally required to show his taxes.
No, he's not. But
I'm saying,
wouldn't you want to know if he's getting money from Russia? Mueller already knows.
I don't know if he's getting money from Russia. I'm not sure all of it would show up in his taxes.
Well, no, exactly. That's why this is not about collusion. This is about money laundering. Okay, let me ask you this. If he lost $1 billion in a casino, Sean, you're a smart guy. How is he building golf courses if Wall Street will not lend him money? Where's he getting his money from? I mean, that's just basic stuff. If Wall Street, nobody in the United States will lend you money to build anything, because you're not a builder. Because obviously you lose a lot of money. So I'm a banker. I'm not going to give you money. You're a joke on Wall Street.
Well,
so where is he getting his money?
There's nothing preventing him from having silent partners.
That's true. But if it goes against you can't do business with countries that we deem.
I'm not saying it doesn't even necessarily have to be Russians.
Right.
It can be silent partners can be U.S. citizens.
Sure. But that's why I'm saying why he probably won't see our. That's why I'm convinced, because with all the buildings he does around the world, you haven't paid taxes in over 30 years because you have an exemption because you lost almost $1 billion. Where are you getting money to build Mar-a-Lago? Why did you sell property? They said it was like 10, 12 times what it was worth. That property in Florida that a Russian oligarch bought. I mean, I just have questions. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything other than obstruction of justice, because he admitted that.
I thought Mar-a-Lago came out of his personal pocket.
He doesn't have that kind of money. So where is he getting his money? So, and this is what I tell people: ask yourself the basic questions. If Wall Street will not loan him money, he has to get his money from somewhere. We know that he was getting money from Deutsche Bank, which is not a crime. But what money is filtering in through Deutsche Bank and out? Because you're going to need a significant amount of money. He didn't have because if he had a significant amount of money, he would have paid those taxes. So for 10 or 12 years, where has he been getting his money? And then his sons are on record saying, we get a lot of our money from Russia. Why won't you show us your taxes so we can see? Robert Mueller already has the taxes, so we already know. Do you think it's a good idea for the president to talk to Robert Mueller because he's the next guy up? I mean, with this guy that exaggerates a lot, let's not call him a liar. He exaggerates to the point of lying. Do you think it's a good idea for him to talk to this? Because think about it. Robert Mueller has already talked to Flynn and a lot of the people involved. If he talks to this guy, not knowing what Flynn has said, that's obstruction of justice because you're lying now to the federal investigator, which is a crime. I think it's not a good idea for him to talk because obviously Flynn turned for some reason.
I don't know. I think, he did get Comey to admit that there wasn't any recording of his tape. So,
Sure.
unless Trump has some legal trick up his sleeve, maybe it would be a good idea to talk to him. Normally, that's not something you do in legal proceedings.
Okay, I wouldn't do it.
I don't know what Trump has in mind, so I really can't speak on that.
Knowing that. Like right now, knowing that you talked to the special prosecutor investigating me, I would not want to talk to that guy because I don't know what you said. Because if I refute what you said, it's a crime. So with this guy being a hell of an exaggerator, I wouldn't do it. If it does come up that he obstructed justice and it's money laundering, which is a crime, what would it take for you to say there's something wrong with this president? I mean, like I said, even though I'm a black man, I was not an Obama supporter. So, I mean, is there anything that this man can do that you would be like, well, that's not right?
Well, Trump is a symptom of that there's something wrong with the whole system.
Yeah, the system, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I think right now it's more a matter of what's the least of all evils. I mean, we could hold Trump to these standards, but on the other hand, we're not holding Congress. We're not holding.
That's the biggest problem, Congress.
Yeah, we're not holding the parties. We're not holding anyone else to these standards that we're expecting.
So should we just let him go and just say, okay, you could do what you want? It's a dictatorship now.
Well, I don't see how you're going to get unless something is done to the system. I don't see how it's going to be any different if someday when Trump is replaced.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So right now, the reason I'm not so familiar about a lot of these things is because I've been focused more on Trump's other policies about.
Where are the jobs? He's been in there a year. Where are the jobs?
It's slowly happening. Do you hear about like Apple and Starbucks?
Yeah, but the reason why they're doing that is because the Congress has put in new laws to where they have to bring that money from offshore or it's going to be taken from them.
You also get to bring it offshore at a substantially discounted tax rate.
Yeah, and that's why they're doing it. They're going to lose some of the money, but most of the money they're going to keep. That's why they're bringing it back in. But so you said Apple, right? Bringing these jobs back from offshore, right?
So they haven't, not jobs, the
money.
$250 billion.
Right, and what they're going to do with that money is they're going to open up businesses and jobs, right? And training, right?
Yeah.
Which is good because, like I said, just bringing in a manufacturing job, that isn't going to really solve our problems because, like I said, look at Moreno Valley. Mm-hmm. The only thing we attract here is warehouses because this is our population education level.
And they're also going to bring a lot of their customer service back into the U.S., which will mean you get English-speaking people. Right.
And I think a lot of companies are doing that, too, because they're seeing the writing on the wall as the pendulum is swinging more this way, where you have too many. Remember I told you a long time ago, there's no more middle class. Either you got it or you don't. The have and the have-nots. Mm-hmm. So if you're smart, there are more have-nots than there are nots. So now a lot of these companies are saying the pendulum has swung so much to the rich that you got to start giving back something. That's why I always say, like if you're a developer in this city, you got to give the citizens something. You're going to get everything that you want, but you got to invest in the citizen. That's Ito's problem. And I've told Ito that over and over again. You just take to where everybody just hates your guts because you're taking our tax dollars and we get nothing out of it. We don't have a youth center. We don't have a community swimming pool. I mean, there's all kinds of things that he could do that is insignificant to his wallet. And he can make money off of it by turning it into a business, and he won't do it because of his greed.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to that in a moment, but the reason I've still been supporting Trump is because, one, he's been really big on freedom of religion, freedom, a very strong Second Amendment supporter. First act was to put Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court.
He's being good.
He's been rather belligerent on foreign policy issues related to defense, but I think after the Obama administration, something had to be done to set new boundaries.
But what about his bigotness? That doesn't bother you? How come that doesn't come up in your thinking when you think about Trump? I mean, like me, I don't hang out with bigots personally. I don't. But that doesn't bother you. It's obvious he's a bigot. That's obvious. It's obvious that he paid a porn star, had an affair on his wife, and paid a porn star $130,000. And she's going to be on TV tonight talking about that. I think it's on one of those shows, CNN. It's going to be on CNN, and she's going to talk about that. But she was paid $130,000 to do to keep quiet about that. You got to be a loser when you're buying pussy. Excuse my language. When you're buying pussy like that. But $130,000.
I'm not surprised then. I'm not surprised now.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has other kids that
could be right
that are that he keeps quiet too.
Yeah, he's quiet on that. Well, let me ask you this though: would you be surprised if he is impeached? I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, would you be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to have the proceedings, but I don't know if I'm not.
Okay, like me being in the military, my job is to protect the Constitution first, not the people. The Constitution to give you the right to do what the Constitution says you can do. Yeah. The president is not a dictator. If I have to uphold the Constitution, if my superior officer did something against the Constitution, I am to stop him at all costs, enemies foreign and domestic. So we know he obstructed justice. We already know that. If he gets impeached, do you think he needs to stay? Or if the articles of impeachment have these things where they say, yes, he's done these things, do you believe he should be impeached? Is the question.
There's also a difference between being impeached and being removed from office.
Exactly, but if you get impeached, you get removed as a president. That's in the Constitution.
What about Clinton?
He didn't get. He missed it by one vote. He fell one vote short. But he did get impeached. The impeachment is the process starting. So if he would have got that last vote, he would have been removed from office. I mean, because no man is supposed to be above the law. No man. So
I don't know. I'm not so sure that it'll reach that point.
Okay. So if it doesn't reach that point, should we hold our congressional people responsible because they're supposed to uphold the Constitution? Because if there's no rule of law, then why don't we just do whatever we want?
I think that if you're going to hold more than just holding the Congress accountable, it's getting Congress to overhaul the system to where.
But that's not going to happen. It's up to us to hold them accountable. They're not going to do it. I mean, they're making money off of this system, so they're not going to. It's obvious they're not going to do that. So
it sounds like people need to force them out at gunpoint,
and that's what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. We have a right and a duty to uphold the Constitution first, not every person. If we let Trump get away with his crimes, then everybody else should be released out of jail. I mean, we've got to have a standard, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not a Trump basher or nothing like that. I don't like the man because he's a liar, and I know he's not a billionaire. That's my personal opinion. However, as a military man, we must uphold the Constitution first, because if we don't, then it's just nothing but a piece of paper.
I know you're not. I'm not calling you a Hillary supporter, but
which I'm not. Mm-hmm.
I notice a lot of these arguments are also used by Hillary supporters, which where after if they support Hillary, where would they get off bashing Trump? Because I mean, a lot of stuff they're accusing Trump of, we've got information that Hillary has been involved in that and more. So,
right. But remember, she was protected by a Democratic president. He's the president. It's a difference. She was never a president.
Yeah. Well,
there's all kinds of cabinet members that have been fired and kicked out and stuff like that. But we're talking about a president.
Well, and I don't have it handy, but in 2015, Ted Cruz
I remember
filed a document listing something like 75 or 76 impeachable offenses that Obama had committed to.
And, right, and it was up to the Congress too.
And there was also no public outcry. So I think what we're discussing. I think we're getting a little bit
ahead of
not just being your side when the whole system is
the problem is the system.
The system is working exactly like
it's working for the donors, right?
It's working exactly like the things that Trump gets away with, the things that Hillary has gotten away with, the things that Obama has gotten away with, things that
Clinton, Bush, Reagan. It goes on.
Things that Bush let Cheney do all kinds of shady deals.
Exactly, no bid contracts like that. But that's where I wanted you to go. That's my point. It doesn't matter what party you're in. There's only one party, the ruling party. These people do not work for us. And what it's going to take is for us, the individual person. That's why they want to take our guns away from us and stuff like that, because they know there are a lot of us that are awake, that knows what's going on. It's going to take patriots to defend themselves against their government, because that's what's happening now.
Okay, then why isn't Trump doing that?
Why
is Trump not pushing gun control? Why is he protecting?
He's part of the system.
But he's not doing the things that most of the system is doing in that respect.
Well, number one, Trump's a pussy. Number one. Number two, he only governs to his base, and he could care less. When you're a rich person, you don't care about that. He's really tough when he has a security around. When he doesn't have a security around, like right now, if he wasn't so scared to go to jail right now, he'd be firing everybody else out the thing and wouldn't care about the Constitution and like that. And that's what I'm saying. He's afraid of the rule of law. He doesn't want it to apply to him, but he wants it to apply to everybody else. And that's my whole point is, it could be Clinton, it could be Obama. These are all the same people. Once you get in there, this has nothing to do with you and me. It has to do with them. And what they need to start doing, we're here. They need to swing that pendulum back to where they give us something. And until they do that, they keep us fighting each other, and you're on the left, I'm on the right, whatever. It's all bullshit. It's in the end, to me, it's all bullshit.
Well, if he's afraid of the law, then
that's why he's obstructing justice.
They should be afraid of the law.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not such a bad thing that the president or another politician is afraid of the law, because that would regulate their behavior.
Right?
Look at Hillary Clinton, for example. Every time she said that we're based on a country of laws, it's usually in the same breath that she's trying to cover up something.
Yeah, her eyes go here, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. So no,
I'm with you. Hillary Clinton is one of the most corrupted people I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I think right now that is a mitigating. They call that
mitigating circumstances.
Mitigating circumstances for now that Trump does have some sort of recognition of the law enough to fear it.
Right, and but he can't obstruct it to fear it, because he's making it worse. He's digging himself deeper. You got to change the law to do it.
But then you also have to change the system, because otherwise the next person to take office after Trump is going to be doing the same thing.
And that's exactly why we have to hold him accountable, regardless of how much we like him, or he's doing this or he's doing that. No one man is above the law. The Constitution must be upheld, because if not, the laws don't mean anything. It's wild, wild west out here. It's who has the best guns, and whoever's going to do it, you can't tell me nothing, because he got away with it, so I need to get away with it too. So if we defame
there's
the
more to it than just the president alone is not going to changing the president alone is not going to change
the system.
The system.
Right.
So if you're so focused on Trump that that's all you're going to you're really going to change is if you're all you care about is getting rid of Trump, that's all you're going to accomplish is getting rid of Trump. You're not going to change the system.
Right. And I tell people, you got to remember, Mike Pence is the vice president. So you get rid of Trump, you're going to have even a worse problem for a guy that knows the system and knows how Washington works. But my point is this: you impeached a man because he got his dick sucked. Isn't it hypocritical if this guy obstructed justice not to do anything? That's my point, basically. The guy took executive privilege. He didn't break any laws. I mean, executively. They said he impugned the office of president. He was in there getting executive privilege, and that's just disgusting. And it's unbeholden to the office. Yeah, and you impeached him.
What's her name?
Lewinsky.
No, the other lady. Not Paula Jones. It's Linda Tripp.
Linda Tripp. Right.
Yeah. Well, she to this day she still genuinely believes that she saved her life and Monica Lewinsky's life by coming forward.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. So since we're talking about life being saved, have you heard from Omarosa?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has. So there you go. Like I said, these are all the same people in the end of the day. But my point is, we as individual Americans, we have to be vigilant.
What I'm saying is that we're talking about Trump supposedly lying about something when Clinton, when the whole reason that the whole Clinton Lewinsky scandal came out was because he was going to kill people over it.
Well, they basically got him an obstruction of justice and lying to Congress, and that's what pretty much got him the impeachment articles. He was only impeached under 2 or 3 articles, and that was it. So, you look at anybody else nowadays, you'd be like, well, he got his dick. What's the big deal? Nowadays, that's how people look at it. But now you've got this guy in there, and my thing as a former military guy is to uphold the Constitution. That's my whole guy. I don't care who it is. It could be Clinton. It could be the Pope. Let justice be done, though the heavens fall. That's my point, because no man is above the law. If I have to go to jail for whatever's on the books, everybody needs to, because you're the president, that's bullshit. He can't be indicted. He can't be this. You remember when Clinton tried to say he was on active duty?
Clinton?
Yeah, they were trying to sue him for Whitewater. And his lawyer said, well, he's on active duty. So, because there's a law, when you're on active duty in the military, you can't be sued.
Since when was Clinton ever in the military?
Because he was president, they tried to argue that, he's the commander-in-chief, so he's technically on active duty. That didn't fly. But you see what I'm saying? They all try to get out of it any way they can and stuff like that. But
I've never heard of any elected official being on active duty unless they were actually enlisted or had officers.
What they're saying is, as commander-in-chief for the next 4 years, he's head of the military, so he's active duty. That's just it was just a legal argument that it didn't have any water, but they tried it and it didn't have any water. But that's what they do to try to hide their necks and stuff. But they use that to try to stop him from being sued with the Apollo Jones and the individual thing. Like, you can't sue him right now. He's the commander in chief. It didn't fly. He ended up getting sued, and he got disbarred, and all kinds of stuff happened to him. So, but a lot of stuff going on. That's just one of the things, you guys. You have to be vigilant. If you don't be vigilant, things are going to happen, and then your city can end up like my city. And we're a warehouse city now. Box Springs Water Company. That's going to be another issue we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that in the second hour. You guys stand by. We got a few more things to talk about, and we're going to keep you guys informed on it. Stand by.